Hey guys, John here. Today we're going to go over elevation certificates. I'm going to show you guys how to do an elevation certificate on this house. We collected our benchmark, and you can find out how to find and collect a good bench check in one of my previous videos. So we've collected our benchmark, and now we are going to set our site benchmark. This is what we are going to base our level loop off of. So what we're gonna do here, let's go ahead and collect this point for a few seconds. I like to collect it for at least 30 seconds just to make sure I have a really good elevation. I also check my horizontal and vertical tolerance, make sure that I'm within tolerance. All right, so we've got our point, and we're gonna go set up our level. Okay, we have our bench check, which was 0.407, and we have our site benchmark, found nail and disc, which our elevation here is 1584. Okay, before we set up the level and get going on our loop, I just want to show you real quick. This is what your field notes should look like. You'll have a station, plus, HI, minus, and elevation category. I also add a note category to help be a little bit more descriptive on my stations. And I will show you as we go where each of these numbers go, but you can also check out another one of my videos to get way more detailed on how to fill out your field notes on an elevation loop. All right, so let's go. We're gonna be using the Spectra Precision laser level, and this is self-leveling. So this one's fairly easy to set up. Just wanna stomp it in real good. And then we kind of get it a little level, and it does all the work for us. So once we have it basically leveled and sturdy in the ground, we just turn it on, it'll level itself, and once this laser starts spinning, we know we're ready to go. So let's go to our temporary benchmark. Okay, we're at our site benchmark. We're gonna take our first reading. So So we got 6.59. We add that. So we got 6.59 plus, that's our plus reading. So we will add that to our known elevation, our nail and disc, to give us an HI, that stands for height of instrument, of 2243. What we're gonna do now is get a couple ground shots and finished floor shots and whatever we can see from this setup that will be required for the elevation certificate. So the ground elevations are important because we're trying to determine how high the water has to rise before the water will hit the building. The finished floor elevation is super important because we're trying to determine what elevation will the water enter the house at. So here we're going to get our finished floor, but we're also going to check our finished floor on the other doors. So the finished floor garage is important because a lot of equipment on the house that could be flooded is in the garage. It's also another access point from where water can enter. So we got to make sure that we get the finished floor garage if there's one on the house. From here, I've gotten all the elevations I can get from that setup. So now I need to make another turning point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna think about where can I grab an elevation that is super solid, it's not going to move, and that I can also set up my level in another spot and see that point from. So I'm looking for a turning point. I'm going to use this little corner of the concrete to turn on. Okay, so now I got that. Let's go grab our level and let's set it up in a new spot. It's really important that you carry your level over your shoulder and not just pick it up and throw it around. There's a lot of sensitive electronics inside of your level, whether it's an auto level or a laser level. No matter what instrument you're using, be sure to take good care of it and do a little research on what that means. Okay, so choosing where you set up is really important. Taking a second to think about this can often save you one or two turns and help you out in the long run a lot. I chose this position because I can see my turning point, the equipment pad that I need an elevation on. I can also see all of the ground, and then I can make one more turn to check back into my benchmark. So I feel like this is a really good place, and let's get started. We're going to take our new reading on our turning point, which will be added to this elevation. So we got 3.69. So on our turning point, we had an elevation of 1867. We added 3.69 to that elevation, gave us a new HI of 2236. So we're going to be subtracting from 2236 to give us new elevations. Every reading after we create a HI is a subtraction until we get to our turning point. So your equipment pads are very important because that's a piece of equipment that can flood. The purpose of an elevation certificate is to find out what type of liability the insurance company is looking at so they can determine the premium. So we've got everything we can see from this setup. The last setup we need, we're going to make a turning point 2, and we're going to turn, grab a rear finished floor, and then check back into our temporary benchmark. So we've moved our setup over here. I set it up really low because I want to be able to see my benchmark so I can check back in, which is out in the road, which is much lower. So I would have to have a very high reading. So it's always good to think about the next couple steps. You know, think ahead a little bit with your setups. All right, so we're gonna come off of turning point 2. we got a reading of 3.15. That's going to be our plus reading, which we are adding to the elevation there. To give us a new HI. So we got 3.15 was our plus reading, which we added to 1884 to give us a new HI of 2199. And our next reading we will subtract from 2199. Okay, we're done. We've got all of our readings on the house, and we just checked back in. I got a reading of 615. So what we're looking for here is we want to close our loop. We've got 2 turning points, and this is checking back into our temporary benchmark, and we want it to be the same as when we started. We started at 1584, so let's do the math here. We got 21.99 minus 6.15 equals 1584, and we started at 1584, so we're good. We've closed our loop with no error. That's always a good feeling. Nail and disc, and the station would be temporary bench mark. All right, so now we're going to go back and do all of our math that we're missing here, and then we'll assign a station for each thing, whether it's our HAG, our lag, our finished floor garage, AC pad. Some of these we already know. We know that's our AC pad. So we know that's our finished floor at the front door, our finished floor at the back door. So we'll go clean up our notes, and I'll show you guys a picture of the finished notes, and then we'll go over the pictures. Okay, so we've gone through the math and we've filled out our notes. These are basically what your notes should look like. So I have my starting point, my temporary benchmark, the plus, which was my first reading, and then I added that to my known elevation to give me my HI. Then I went and started getting readings to subtract from my HI to give me new elevations. So I have my front door at 1944, my finished floor garage at 1897. I'm showing my HAG, which was my highest ground shot, at 1883. My lag, which was my lowest ground shot, at 1858. And then I checked into the back finished floor. Remember, my front finished floor was 1944. My rear finished floor was 1940. And then I closed back into my nail and disc in the road, my temporary benchmark, at 1584, which is perfect, no error. So we've proven the loop around the house, and we've proven that this elevation we set in the road was correct by checking into a NGS benchmark. That was the first thing we did in the morning. It's the first thing you should do every morning. Okay, now we're gonna go out and we're gonna take some pictures for the elevation certificate, and then we're done. So let's go. They want to see the entirety of the house when you're taking these pictures. So I know that it is hard to see end to end and ground to roof in every picture because you have obstacles in your way like trees, and the conditions always aren't perfect. But do your best. What I do is I zoom out as far as my camera will allow me, and I get a picture of the rear. And if I can't see the back door in that picture, then I go to an angle where I can see the back door. And I get a picture. So I'll have two pictures of the back. One that shows the entire house, and then one that comes up a little closer on the rear door. Then I go and get a picture of the side of the house. All right. So now I'm going to get a picture of the whole front of the house, and I want to be able to see the front door and the garage door in the picture. Then I get a picture of the whole side of the house. That should do it, because some of my pictures that included the whole side or included the whole front got everything I needed, like the equipment pad. Should always get a picture of the equipment pad, but just so happens that my side picture included the equipment pad. So I hope this is helpful. You guys check out my other videos if you have any questions on how to run a bench loop or how to find your NGS benchmark, and make sure to leave a comment about what you'd like to see, if there's anything you'd like to learn. And as always, stay safe.